Welcome back to Cyber Secure. In our last video, we talked about risk assessment and scanning, the first step in vulnerability management. Today, we'll dive deeper into the next step, vulnerability remediation. We'll cover how to prioritize vulnerabilities, mitigate them, and manage patches. We'll also include some real-world examples to help you understand the importance of vulnerability remediation. So, let's get started. 1. Prioritizing vulnerabilities. Once you've identified vulnerabilities in your system, the next step is to prioritize them based on their risk level. Not all vulnerabilities are created equal, and some may pose a higher risk to your organization than others. By prioritizing vulnerabilities, you can focus your remediation efforts on the most critical issues and reduce the risk of cyber attacks. 2. Mitigating vulnerabilities. There are many ways to mitigate vulnerabilities, such as configuring firewalls, changing system settings, or disabling unnecessary services. However, the most effective way to mitigate vulnerabilities is to patch them. Patches are software updates that address security vulnerabilities and fix bugs in your system. By applying patches, you can eliminate known vulnerabilities and reduce the risk of cyber attacks. 3. Patch management. Patch management is the process of deploying software patches across your organization's network and systems. This can be a complex and time-consuming process, as patches must be tested and deployed in a way that minimizes disruption to your organization's operations. However, patch management is critical to ensuring that your organization remains secure and protected from cyber threats. To illustrate the importance of vulnerability remediation, let's take a look at a few real-world examples. Example 1. WannaCry ransomware attack. As we discussed in our previous video, the WannaCry ransomware attack exploited a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows that had been patched months earlier. Organizations that had applied the patch were protected from the attack, while those that had not were vulnerable to infection. This highlights the importance of patch management in vulnerability remediation. Example 2. Equifax breach. As we discussed earlier, the Equifax breach was caused by a vulnerability in the Apache Struts framework. Equifax had failed to patch the vulnerability in a timely manner, which allowed attackers to gain unauthorized access to sensitive data. This highlights the importance of prioritizing vulnerabilities and ensuring that critical vulnerabilities are addressed promptly. Example 3. Cisco vulnerability. In 2021, Cisco issued a security advisory for a vulnerability in its adaptive security appliance software. The vulnerability allowed attackers to bypass authentication and gain unauthorized access to sensitive data. Cisco quickly issued a patch to address the vulnerability, but organizations that had not applied the patch were left vulnerable to attack. This highlights the importance of patch management and timely remediation. In conclusion, vulnerability remediation is critical to reducing the risk of cyber attacks and protecting your organization's digital assets. By prioritizing vulnerabilities, mitigating them through patching and other methods, and managing patches effectively, you can reduce the risk of cyber threats. Remember to regularly assess your system for vulnerabilities, and apply patches promptly to stay protected from emerging threats. We hope you found it helpful and informative. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video on Cyber Secure.